night smelled faintly of motor oil and rain as Ethan Cole shut the garage doors of Cole's Auto Repair. His hands were blackened from a long day of fixing engines that barely paid the bills, and his old flannel shirt was smudged with grease. He exhaled deeply, glancing at the flickering neon sign above the shop. The O in open had stopped glowing months ago, but he hadn't had the money or time to fix it. "Daddy, are we still going for dinner?" A small voice chirped behind him. He turned to see Lily, his 8-year-old daughter, clutching her sketchbook, the same one she carried everywhere. "Of course we are, Peanut," Ethan said, smiling despite his fatigue. "You've earned your pancakes tonight." Lily giggled and skipped toward their old red pickup, her ponytail bouncing. The truck coughed twice before the engine finally started, and Ethan whispered a silent prayer of thanks. They drove through the quiet streets of the small town, lights glimmering through the drizzle. To anyone watching, they looked like a normal father and daughter heading out for a simple dinner. But Ethan's heart was heavy. Rent was due in 3 days, the mortgage had been deferred twice, and Lily's school fees were waiting. The bell above the diner door jingled as they entered. Warm air and the scent of coffee and baked pie wrapped around them. The waitress Marla smiled knowingly. "The usual, Ethan?" she asked. "You know us too well," he replied with a tired grin. They took a booth near the window. Lily opened her sketchbook, showing him a drawing of a car with wings. "Someday, Daddy, I'll make you a flying car so you don't have to fix old ones anymore," she said earnestly. Ethan chuckled softly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "That's my little engineer." At the next table, a woman sat alone, dressed in a sleek black dress that didn't belong in a diner like this. She looked nervous, checking her phone again and again. The diamond bracelet on her wrist shimmered under the warm lights, but her eyes held something fragile, loneliness, maybe even fear. Ethan noticed her glance toward the door every few seconds, as though waiting for someone who wasn't coming. He didn't know it yet, but before the night ended, their worlds would collide in a way that would change his life forever. The diner had settled into its usual evening rhythm, the low hum of conversations, the clink of cutlery, and the soft country song playing from an old jukebox in the corner. Ethan was helping Lily cut her pancakes when he heard a commotion from the next table. The elegant woman, the one he'd noticed earlier, suddenly gasped, her hand flying to her throat. Her face turned pale and she began to cough violently. The glass of wine she'd been holding shattered as it slipped from her fingers. "Somebody help her," Marla shouted from behind the counter. Before anyone could react, Ethan was on his feet. Instinct took over. Not the mechanic, not the struggling father, but the man who couldn't stand by while someone was in trouble. He rushed to the woman's side and wrapped his arms around her from behind. "Ma'am, I've got you. Just try to breathe," he said firmly, performing the Heimlich maneuver. Lily watched, wide-eyed, clutching her sketchbook to her chest as her father worked quickly and calmly. Within moments, the woman coughed up a small piece of food that had blocked her airway and fell forward, gasping for air. The diner went silent, everyone watching as she slowly caught her breath. Ethan guided her gently back into the chair. "You're okay now. Take it easy," he said softly, handing her a napkin. Tears welled in her eyes. I couldn't breathe." "You saved me," she whispered, her voice trembling. He smiled humbly. "Just lucky I was close by." Marla came over, still shaken. "Good Lord, Ethan, you should have been a paramedic." He chuckled lightly. "Nah, I'm better with engines than people." The woman managed a weak laugh through her tears. "Maybe," she said, studying him closely. "But tonight you were exactly who I needed." Lily climbed off the booth and handed the woman her sketchbook. "My daddy fixes everything," she said proudly. The woman's lips trembled into a smile. "I can see that." As she reached for Ethan's hand in gratitude, he noticed a distinctive logo on her phone case, Ravenwood Motors. His breath caught for a second. That was one of the biggest car companies in the country. Who exactly had he just saved? The woman insisted Ethan and Lily stay a little longer. After everything that had happened, leaving immediately felt wrong. The diner staff had given them space, and Marla even brought a complimentary slice of pie for the trio. The woman finally introduced herself, her voice steadying. "I'm Victoria Hale," she said, offering a warm but still slightly shaky smile. "And I owe you my life." Ethan wiped his hands awkwardly on a napkin. "No need for that, ma'am." Anyone would have done the same. Victoria tilted her head, studying him. Maybe, but not everyone did. You were the only one who moved. Lily leaned forward, eyes wide. You're really pretty, she said innocently. Are you famous? Victoria chuckled. Something like that. She reached into her bag and pulled out a business card, sliding it across the table to Ethan. I'm the CEO of Ravenwood Motors. Ethan blinked, unsure if he'd heard correctly. Ravenwood Motors, the same company whose cars he'd been repairing for years. The same one that had just announced $1 billion innovation program on the news last week. He stared at the card, speechless. I didn't realize. You weren't supposed to, Victoria interrupted kindly. Tonight I was just a woman choking on bad steak. Lily giggled. Daddy makes better steak at home. For the first time that night, Victoria truly laughed. A real melodic laugh that softened her elegant, guarded demeanor. I might have to test that someday, she said warmly. Then her tone grew thoughtful. You run your own garage, right? Ethan nodded slowly. Small place. Nothing fancy, but it's honest work. Victoria's gaze drifted to Lily, who was doodling a car with wings again. Your daughter's very creative, she said softly. She's my whole world, Ethan replied. His voice carried both pride and exhaustion, the sound of a man who had given everything and still struggled to stay afloat. Victoria's expression turned gentle, almost pensive. You remind me of someone, she said quietly. My father started as a mechanic too. Ethan smiled faintly. Then he must have been a good man. Victoria looked at him for a long moment, her eyes shimmering with emotion. He was. And so are you, Mr. Cole. Don't forget that. Neither of them knew it yet. But this simple dinner had just rewritten the course of Ethan's entire life. The next morning, Ethan was back at his garage, the familiar hum of engines echoing through the workshop. Sunlight streamed through the dusty windows, catching in the rising mist from his coffee mug. It felt like any other day, except for the business card resting on his workbench. He picked it up again, reading the elegant letters, Victoria Hale, CEO, Ravenwood Motors. Part of him wondered if last night had even been real. He'd gone to bed replaying her words, her smile, the strange spark of understanding that passed between them, but he quickly brushed it off. People like her don't cross paths with people like me, he murmured to himself. Just then, the rumble of an expensive car outside caught his attention. He stepped out, wiping his hands, and then froze. A sleek black Bentley had pulled up in front of the garage. The tinted window lowered, and there she was, Victoria Hale in a cream-colored coat, smiling like she'd never left. Morning, Mr. Cole, she greeted, stepping out gracefully. I hope I'm not interrupting. Ethan blinked. Ms. Hale? No, not at all. I just didn't expect... She handed him a sealed envelope. You saved my life, Ethan. I couldn't sleep last night thinking about how to properly thank you. Inside was a letter on Ravenwood letterhead, and beneath it a set of car keys. His heart skipped. What is this? Victoria smiled softly. It's a partnership offer. Ravenwood is launching a community mechanic program, training and funding small-town garages. I want you to lead the pilot. Full financial backing, new tools, and a scholarship for your daughter when she's older. Ethan's voice cracked. You don't have to do this. I know, she said. But I want to. She met his eyes. People like you remind me what this world still needs. Kindness, honesty, heart. Lily ran out from the back, still in her paint-stained overalls. Daddy, is she the lady from dinner? Victoria bent down with a smile. Yes, sweetheart. And I think your daddy just got promoted. Ethan looked at the keys in his hand, then at Victoria, speechless, overwhelmed. For the first time in years, hope felt real again. And as the morning sun broke through the clouds, Ethan realized the woman he'd saved had just saved him right back.